I don't know who I'd be without you. You made me want to be a better version of myself. You inspire me. You uplift me. You showed up for me when I was in the hospital bed. And you didn't know if I was gonna make it out alive. You were a wife before you became one. It took me some time to become a husband. And I'm so grateful for your patience.
So through watching the final episode of The Chi, I took a lot of notes about what stuck out to me. And Emmett, in his vows, telling Kiesha that you were a wife before you came one really hit me hard. And it's the premise of this video. Should you act like a wife before getting the ring? Now, Emmett had us singing "It's About Damn Time," you know, the Lizzo song, or had us singing Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come." It's been a long time coming, but we knew a change was gonna come. We knew Emmett and Kiesha were gonna get married, right? But it just took way too long for it to happen, and I was upset that Kiesha proposed to Emmett, but I'll get into all of that. So in this video, I seek to answer the question and talk about the consequences of just, I guess, being in a relationship too long before you are married, and if you should act like a wife or husband before you actually walk down the aisle and all of that jazz. So here are my thoughts. And then of course later on the video, I want you to stick around because I'm going to talk about what I liked, didn't like, what surprised me about the final episode of The Chi overall. And I preface all of this to say that I am backing what I'm saying with research, and also I'm a lover girl. So if you don't do things that are traditional and you're like, oh, bump the research, or it's my life, it's my relationship, I'll do what I want to do, who are you to judge? This is a safe space, okay? As a lover girl, I just love however you get to your end goal of being with the one you want to be with for the rest of your life. I'm not going to hold you. I'm just here to talk about the research, and I'm just here to talk about, as I've stated in the past, about how the Chi promotes struggle love in a lot of ways, and in real life it just doesn't work, right? Maybe for some people they're like, this is my love, this is my life, this is how I want to do things, and you know, everybody's situation is different, but I have to say that. So do not hate me. And if you disagree, go for it. Tell me why you disagree in the comment section. Tell me your story. Tell me your experience. Okay. And without further ado, let's get into it. So research shows that couples who wait until they are engaged or married to live together have lower divorce rates. About 23% of their marriages end, compared to 34% for couples who live together before engagement. And the reason why this is like somebody who is engaged first or married first, these relationships or marriages last longer because of clear mutual commitment, avoiding sliding into living arrangements, and fewer financial or social traps that force them to stay in weak relationships. And I will include all of these statistics in the description, but that's according to the University of Denver. Now let's look at Kiesha and Emmett. First of all, they were living together before marriage, right? And that's not the end of the world. Some people really need to see if they can enjoy living with someone before marriage, before they get married. However, I say you can spend 3 days with somebody to know if they're clean or dirty. I don't think it takes a lot or living with someone to understand their habits, but it's to each their own, right? However, in Kiesha and Emmett's case, they went through a bunch of trauma. They had a child together before getting married. Emmett got shot. Kiesha, which was not her own fault, went through trauma with being kidnapped and then harassed. I can't say how I want to say it because, monetization things when I eventually get there. But there was just a lot. Like, there was death. They always feared for their safety. So I say that to say that you do not need to go through a bunch of trauma and struggles to understand that you and a person should be together for a lifetime. However, if you are with somebody for a long time, even a year in, 2 years, 3 years, you will and should understand how a person responds to stress and life changes like death, job losses, whatever have you, because those are external factors that you just can't control. Those things will happen. But once again, I want to hammer on the fact that you do not need to go through struggle and do 100 things to receive love, right? You don't have to be that person. You don't have to be a no limit soldier, right? And if you listened in the clip, Emmett said that it took him a long time to become a husband. Kiesha was already that ride or die. It took him a long time to get it together. And ideally, in real life, like, nobody is perfect. Everybody is always building. But you do want to be with someone who has some of it together before you seal the deal, right? Like, you should not just fall in love with potential. And I also want to say that I will keep it real and raw and honest on this channel. I lived with my boyfriend for nearly a year. I didn't plan on things being that way, but because of some circumstances I am not going to reveal, we ended up living together, which was beautiful and pleasant. And like, I made up my mind, like, okay, I could do this forever whenever we're ready to get married. However, that was not my plan. And I understand fully why things go left for some people when you don't wait before marriage or an engagement to live together, or what happens when you're in a relationship too long before you get married. So why does waiting in this context help relationships last? Well, according to the statistics, number one, it talks about sliding versus deciding. So moving in together before engagement often happens out of convenience or to save money rather than a clear choice. Waiting ensures a deliberate commitment to the future. So in short, when people are intentional about things and things don't just randomly happen within the relationship and they have clear goals, a clear commitment, it works. Number two, it talks about relationship inertia. So sharing a lease, furniture, and bills makes it harder to leave an unhealthy match. So when you are depending on someone financially, okay, it could make it harder. So ladies, men, whenever you have your own money and you can pay for bills and things yourself, it's better for the relationship, trust. So couples who wait build a strong emotional foundation before adding these heavy practical ties. Right. Yeah. Finances just add a lot of just weight. Right. And then once again, back to those clear intentions, engagement or marriage provides a shared understanding of where the relationship is going, which lowers future conflict and stress, according to the Institute of Family Studies. So yeah, once again, it's all about being intentional, being decisive, not just letting things happen, and making it clear to the love of your life where you want the relationship to go, which will end in marriage. And also, When a woman, and I can imagine this is the same for a man too, when a woman takes on the wife role of, when a woman takes on the wife role before receiving a commitment like a ring, it often leads to unbalanced effort, emotional burnout, and stalled relationship progress. Yeah, so when you're doing all of these wifely duties or all of these things and you're not sure if you're going to end up being a wife, it could lead to a lot of resentment. So, more into the dynamics of playing wife, right? So, the statistics talk about asymmetrical investment, meaning that when you provide full domestic labor, such as cooking, cleaning, managing a household without a mutual legal or public commitment, it means that the woman is giving marital benefits while retaining girlfriend level security. Ouch. And once again, same for a man. When you're paying for a lot of stuff, paying for bills, doing whatever, you consider husbandly duties, because it's not just financial, okay? You could end up being burnt out too, right? And then it also talks about a reduced incentive to propose. A partner may lose urgency or motivation to take the next step because he already receives the comfort, care, and domestic stability of a marriage without needing to make a formal vow. Yeah, like if you're doing all of these wifely things, there won't be a sense of urgency or anything to look forward to in the future. It's like we've already been playing husband and wife forever. Kind of what's the point? And that's probably why Kiesha and Emmett took so long. It's like we got a kid together, we've been through a lot of trauma together. I mean, it'll happen when it happens. That's kind of like the mindset, the thing that happens. Then the statistics also talk about vulnerability and that resentment word again, right? If the relationship ends, the emotional and financial toll is heavier because the investment mirrored a divorce rather than a simple breakup, often leaving the woman or the man, right, feeling used. So yeah, it's kind of like if you're already doing wifely or husband like duties and things don't work out and you don't get married, yeah, it feels like you went through a divorce. It just hits a little harder versus, like, let's say if you're in a relationship with someone for like 1 or 2 years, it doesn't work out. You can eventually, it'll still hurt, but move on with your life. But oh my goodness, when you've been with someone for 8 years and it doesn't work out, oh my goodness, I know you would be ready to flip a table over or go crazy. And I just want to also say that, yes, some couples dating for over 6 years do get married, but according to the statistics, the likelihood of an engagement drops significantly after the 5-year mark. And I believe that personally, that 3 to 5 year mark is an excellent time to see all you need to see, know what you need to know before saying I do. And it also talks about couples who have not transitioned to marriage by year 6 generally fall into 2 very different categories, which I'll get to in one moment. So let's slow it down and break that down. So it said couples who have not transitioned to marriage by year 6 generally fall into 2 very different categories. So 1, typically they are the high school / college sweethearts, right? They're young, right? At 18 years old, you're maybe not ready to be married. At 24, you may not be ready to be married. So it says if the 6 years includes formative youth, the probability of marriage remains high. So when you're young and you're going through college, high school, then yeah, like nobody expects someone to be married at 18 or 24 or even 25. Maybe back in the day, sure, but we're living in different times. Couples who start dating at 18 or 20 often naturally wait until age 24 or 26 to marry, aligning with financial stability and career starts, right? So you need financial stability to get married. You want to make sure that you're solid in your career, and then there's the the forever girlfriend trait. If the couple met as established adults and have cohabitated for most of the 6 years, the probability of marriage drops. Relationship data shows that if an adult couple hasn't proposed after 3 to 5 years of living together, the delay is rarely about readiness and more about hesitation or lack of desire to change the status quo. So basically this is saying, and maybe to make some people feel better, or even myself, is that like, all right, you can live together for 3 to 5 years, but after 5 years and you're not married, resentment may definitely happen. And then finally, within this context, what are the risks of a 6+ year timeline, right? So research says that there's the sunk cost trap. So some couples finally get married after 6+ years, not out of excitement, but because they feel they have invested too much time to walk away. These marriages face a higher risk of early divorce. Y'all know the Jagged Edge song, Let's Get Married? We ain't getting no younger, girl. We might as well do it. You know that line? This is exactly what that is. The sunk cost trap. It's been over 6 years. We might as well. And you're not as excited, right? You're not as green. And then research also talks about the risk of the walkaway prophecy. A well-documented phenomenon occurs where a couple breaks up after 6 to 8 years of dating and the hesitant partner marries someone else within 1 to 2 years of meeting them. This proves the issue wasn't a fear of marriage itself, but a lack of certainty about that specific partner. Oh my goodness, imagine you've been with someone for 6 to 8 years, you break up after, and then like they marry someone else quickly. It's like, well, were you cheating this whole time? And or as the data shows, it's like, well, were you just not certain about me? Was I not good enough? Yeah. So if a person is taking 58 years to marry you, you got to start questioning things. That's if you want marriage anyway. I know marriage is not for everybody. Not everyone wants marriage. No judgment there. And then finally, once again, this R word again, resentment, right? Resentment build up. Waiting 6 years without a shared concrete timeline usually breeds deep resentment, which can poison the relationship even if a ring eventually appears. Yeah, so lucky for Kiesha and Emmett, they did not walk away from each other. They were happy and in love and excited to be married. But in real life, this is a TV show. It can present certain problems and certain risks, which I covered. However, do what works for you. If all that matters is that you're sure about the person and that you know that you'll be happy for the rest of your life and that time is not wasted, right? That's all that matters. Do not waste anybody's time and do not have your time wasted. I'd also like to say that my boyfriend and I are very marriage minded. We've both talked about, we've been together 2 years now, over 2 years, and I'm excited, I'm happy. But some of the first conversations we had was about marriage, and it's obviously you don't know if you're going to marry someone in the beginning, but it is important to just ask a person flat out early on, are you marriage minded? And I think that if we were together another year, God willing, and we were to get married within year 3, I would be very happy. But as I've been talking about, if it took us 5 or 6 years, then some resentment would start kicking in. But I say all of that to say that it's important to figure out early on, right away, play no games about if you and your person are on the same page. You got to think about your future self. Can't just think about if the person is attractive and they give you butterflies and all of that. There just has to be some alignment. And now here's what I promise. Here are some things that I liked, disliked, I found surprising about The Chi overall. I actually give Emmett a lot of praise for making his and Kiesha's proposal intimate, quiet, and at home, but still romantic. Now that's how you do things, fellas. You got to put some effort, okay? I'm also glad that Kiesha didn't accept Emmett's proposal after he got shot. Proposals should be special, thought out, not out of desperation. So fellas, please take your time. You don't have to take the lady on a trip to Paris or anything, right? But it is very important that you just think about that. You do it when you feel fully in love and ready, and it's not like I said, we ain't getting no younger, might as well do it, type of situation. And as I said before, I was upset that Kiesha proposed to Emmett. I will die on this hill. You can argue with me in the comment section. I would love the engagement. Maybe I'll do a deep dive on why I feel this way and why I'm traditional in this way, but I believe that the man should always propose to the woman. All right. I love that Kiesha's mom finally came back, and also I'm a big music lover, if you can't tell, if you just explore my little witty comments and a lot of my references on this video. But them playing Stevie Wonder's You and I during this episode just made me so emotional. I love that Jada was giving her flowers by Ronnie, Kiesha's son. I love that obviously Kevin and Maisha came back, even though Kevin didn't really have any lines. He's just like, you ready? But just his presence was enough. I loved that Bakari's book, we see it finally thriving. And I love that we see that he finally has proof that he has a way out of the street life. Like there's some validity in his passion, and he can make money off of it and inspire kids. Love that wholeheartedly. I liked that we saw Smokey's franchising once again. I love that throughout the Chi we just see some of the characters finally have that financial stability and cultural and impact. I love to see it. And then we also saw that Jada, like she was giving her flowers at the wedding, she was also honored at Smokey's, which it's just a beautiful full circle moment. I loved all of the Jada scenes, like when we see, Emmett have a dream about his mom and everything. So the way that they honored Jada just throughout this entire season was very beautiful. Now, here's what I could have gone without. Kyla Pratt's character in general, just period, just cheating, just making horrible choices. Like, I like Hannibal. I really like him. Why Kyla? And I love Kyla Pratt, Penny Proud, and saw her in Love and Basketball. Like she is just the black community's gem, and she looks the freak good. She's just aging, or not flawlessly, or not aging at all. Love her, but her character just did nothing for the story. Okay, am I the only one who felt that way? And did they forget that Papa's girlfriend, the daughter of Pastor Zeke, like, did they forget she has a child? I feel like I stopped seeing the child after a few episodes. I mean, I know we don't have to throw things in the scene all the time, but am I tripping? Did she not have a child? Oh, okay. Now come on. I hated that Reg had to take the fall for what Tiff did, right? We know that Reg is a horrible person. A lot of us could not stand that he just came back. That little plot twist was annoying. I did enjoy seeing him become a better person, be vulnerable, be more emotional, understand the importance of brotherhood and protecting his brothers and his mom passing was the catalyst to all of that. I loved to see him soften, but not so much that he's taken the fall for something that he didn't do. Are we glad that Nuck is gone? Yes. Is anybody really mad that Tiff did what she did? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Did anybody want to see Tiff go to jail? I'm not sure, but Reg taking the fall just didn't seem to be the right answer. And then it's like, why Vic always gotta be Captain Saver? I don't understand. He does too much. He does too much. I'm glad he did not go to jail, but I did not want Reg to go to jail instead. Okay. At the end, what in the world did Bakari really need to get capped? Like, for real. And then I forget his name. I'm not even gonna look it up. I don't even care. Dude who works at Smokey's. Why does he never lock the door? Why did he not warn Bakari about somebody trying to snuff him? Why? I don't understand. And then Bakari's hair. Okay. Sequence the memes right now. Did they really need to do that to my boy's hair? Like, I love Afrocentric hair. I love afros. But what in the Tyler Perry? I just don't understand. And then what took me for a complete surprise is Lene being pregnant. I hope they get married, okay? Because that's the whole premise of this pop culture session of Speak Your Soul sessions. Like, the whole idea behind the session is this, like, yeah, like, don't take too long to get married. So if the show continued, I would have loved to see them get married. Alrighty, and I've talked about it on this channel before, and you should go ahead and check out that video. I'll link it in the description. But I talked about why I'm okay with this being the Shy's final season. I feel like I've gotten a lot of closure. I feel full. Things have been wrapped up very nicely, but also the Shy has just a habit of adding on characters, new characters, extra characters, adding on a bunch of unnecessary storylines when really all we needed was the story of Emmett, Kiesha, Tiff, Darnell, and Jada. Unfortunately she passed, but long story short, it's just like we just needed the story of the main characters to remain strong, and maybe that's why it's lasted as long as it has. Like, you like to see Emmett on your screen, or Kiesha, or Tiff, or Jake, or whoever the main characters are that have been threading this show along. But you let me know how you feel. Do you think that you could have watched the Shy for 8 more seasons, or do you think it needs a spin-off with Emmett's son and his friends, etc.? And I just want to say that it's rare that a predominantly black show or predominantly black cast gets 8 seasons. It's happened with Blackish, The Cosby Show. It's going to happen with All American, which I will review when the show ends. But All American has 8 seasons. But with The Shy in particular, it's a multi-generational show. Whether you're a teenager trying to find their way and learn how to develop into adulthood, or you're in your 20s or your 30s, or you're an old head like Darnell with his Bluetooth, wherever your station in life is as a black person, The Shy covers a whole lot. The Shy is raw, it's authentic. A lot of people maybe from The Shy may feel as if they don't have their accents down, or something may be a little inauthentic. But The Shy has done a beautiful job of, leaving a great legacy behind. And I hope that in the future, more predominantly black shows get to stick around for 8 seasons and get the funding that they deserve. I know we have our Ryan Cooglers of the world, the Issa Raes, but once again, it's really rare that a show with a predominantly black cast gets to stick around this long. It's sad, it's a shame, and I just hope that up and coming writers can come along and write unique stories, beautiful stories that we can relate to, or maybe not relate to, but the characters are just so wonderful that we get to sink our teeth into them nonetheless. And on that note, this is Slept on Shay signing off from Speak Your Soul Sessions. Oh, wait. And I encourage you to check out the entire pop culture playlist to see some TV show deep dives that you may enjoy. I've done shows like All American, Love is Blind, Bridgerton, which has 16,000 views as of now. So just take your pick. Let me know what you think of The Shy overall. Please comment, please like. And this is Slept on Shay saying that I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. And please subscribe to the Soul Speakers family.